Shut up and sit down.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Watches Etc. Before we get into this video, I just once again want to say a huge thank you to all the new subscribers who have joined us over the past couple of weeks. We started this channel for fun, to pass the time during the COVID-19 lockdown, and to get over 100 subscribers already is amazing for us. I know it's not big in the grand scheme of things, but again, we don't have any grand ambitions and we're not here to make money or sell adverts. We're simply making videos for fun and are so happy that you're joining us along for the ride. It's really appreciated and welcomed. Thank you. I've been hanging out over at the Bark and Jack Facebook group, drinking coffee and talking watches, and one of the users over there posted a question asking what is the best 5-watch collection that they can put together for under £2,500. That's around $3,000 for our friends from the US. And that got me thinking, but I think we can be even more ambitious here than 2,500. So today, I'm going to be giving some advice on how to build not just a 5-watch collection, but a 5-watch collection that is mostly Swiss made for £2,200. The rules are simple. Within this 5-watch collection, at least 3 of the watches have to be made in Switzerland. I will, for reasons of personal preference and frankly a lack of knowledge, steer away from micro brands. Personally, I'm not into micro brands all that much, and whilst I appreciate that the spec sheet on some micro brand watches can read quite a lot longer than others, I personally don't believe that in the grand scheme of things that they offer sufficient value, history, resale or investment potential, or quality. That's just my view of course, and they are something that I have stayed away from, so this video will also steer clear from micro brands. Oh, and Christopher Ward. There will be no Christopher Ward, I promise. So, 5 watches, at least 3 with Swiss made on the dial for under £2,200. Can it be done? Let's see. Our first pick is the one that you'll be wearing to beat up. Or perhaps not, but still a watch which needs to be robust and rugged. We start things off with a watch from a company with a ton of history, Glycine, with their Combat Sub. Glycine has built up its brand from a humble but strong foundation, and these days are fairly forward-thinking with their designs. Despite having been around for over a century, Glycine is still finding ways to do things differently, a brand with true history. They're a great brand with solid aviation links and make some great world time watches, and are an all-round solid brand overall, making solid watches. The Combat Sub, however, is probably Glycine's most popular timepiece, which is a little ironic because it is at its heart a diver, and this is coming from a brand that was established through aviation. Like I said, a bit ironic. Whilst this does have 200 meters of water resistance and could even have been included within the dive category of this list, we think that the robust build quality, reliable workhorse movement, brand heritage and styling makes this a perfect watch for the daily wear/beta category. It is Swiss made, featuring a movement that is based on the reliable automatic ETA 2825 that has been altered for Glycine's specific purpose. They call it the GL224. It has a date complication, 38 hours power reserve, and the advantage of hacking, which many of the watches in this price range don't. At $299 or around £240, this is a cracking everyday option. So, we already have our everyday watch in the collection, and now it's time for something a little different, a field watch. Or perhaps something not very different at all, because this watch tends to feature on everybody's best budget Swiss made list. I am of course talking about the Hamilton Khaki. Now, as a concept, field watches somewhat live in the shadows of dive watches, particularly when it comes to being thought of as a tall watch. However, they're more similar than we think. They both have a necessity to be tough, durable, easy to read, and reliable. The Khaki is Hamilton's way of paying the highest form of respect to original military field watches that left a mark on purposeful watchmaking indefinitely. It tastefully allows more modern wrists to appreciate the origins of many popular designs in a reliable, obtainable way. Whether you go for the automatic or the mechanical hand-wound version, there is no bad choice. After opening the box for the first time, you can easily see Hamilton has nailed not only the dimensions, but also the design. Everything about this watch, from the hands, case and dial, all feel like a genuine vintage watch. It measures in at 38mm wide with a thickness just shy of 10mm. The watch has a lug-to-lug length of 47mm, resulting in a piece that has a large presence on the wrist without feeling bulky or clumsy. The Khaki Auto is powered by an ETA automatic movement, buttery smooth and complemented by a well-proportioned crown, making time adjustments and winding a pleasure. The movement is hacking, vibrating at 28,000 BPM and has a power reserve of 42 hours. It comes with 50 meters of water resistance and a low curved sapphire crystal. It's an almost perfect watch, with our only complaint being the lack of AR coating on the crystal, which results in, naturally, a very reflective piece. With day-to-day wear, I find that this is not really noticeable. However, when you go to take an image of the watch or try to film it, it becomes very obvious that this watch is a mirror. But still, simply put, at just over £450, we believe that this is the best value Swiss-made watch that money can buy. So we move on to get a diver, and for the specialist diver category we could have chosen the Glycine Combat Sub that we had earlier, but instead we've chosen our first non-Swiss watch in this list, the Orient Komatsu, which is Japanese for Barracuda. This is one of the brand's latest iterations of the iconic dive watch configuration, and this sneaks onto the list as one of the permitted non-Swiss picks. Its steel case is 42mm wide, 46.5 lug-to-lug and 12.8mm thick. It comes on a 22mm wide stainless steel bracelet that locks with a push-button deployant clasp. Inside is Orient's caliber F6922 automatic movement, which also hand winds and hacks, and features a central seconds hand, date and day. It's a dive watch featuring 200 meters of water resistance, a screw-down crown, and 120-click unidirectional bezel. The dial is deep in colour and tends to play on the range between navy or green to almost black depending on the light. The large hour markers are clear against the dark background and nicely proportioned. The red tip of the second hand is also a nice highlight. It has a great heft and feels well made and robust. Sure, I wish it had solid rather than hollow end links and a more refined bracelet clasp, but at this price these things can be forgiven. It can be had for around $233 or about £165, and for this price you get a lot of watch, considering the 200-meter water rating, sapphire crystal, ample lume, decent automatic movement, and overall specs and build quality. This is a great value budget diver. So that's 3 of the 5 done, and now we turn our attention to a watch with a bit more of a complication. It's always going to be a bit of a struggle to get a Swiss-made chronograph at the prices we're looking at for this list. So we have made the pragmatic decision to choose this, our second and final non-Swiss made watch. This is a watch with iconic history, a fascinating backstory, and a watch that is for us the best non-Swiss chronograph you can get. This is the historical Bulova Moonwatch, or Lunar Pilot. This watch has a long and fascinating, albeit convoluted history. It was made for astronaut David Scott, who wore it on the Apollo 15 mission. His watch surfaced again in 2015, and later that year it was sold for a whopping $1.3 million at auction. Capitalizing on the hype surrounding the watch and story, Bulova released their own reissue to great acclaim. For this price, you get a faithful recreation of that historic model, with a beaded stainless steel case that measures in at 45mm wide and 13.5mm thick. The big case geometry looks really nice in profile, with the curving lines of the lugs playing against the bezel and flat sapphire. The overall fit and finish of the case really is top notch. For this price you're getting applied indices, 3 chronograph subdials, and a high frequency quartz movement that Bulova call a high performance quartz. These movements operate at a much higher frequency than standard quartz or mechanical movements, resulting in tighter accuracy tolerances. This is not your run-of-the-mill quartz movement, and when considering the technology inside the watch, the overall package, the backstory, and the history and romance, this is a watch you really should consider, and it fits in nicely to our 5-watch collection list. And finally, we make it to watch 5 of our 5-watch collection for around £2,200. For this, we wanted to get a big hitter from a brand with status and heritage. We think we've done that, and our choice for the dress watch category is this, the 39mm Tudor 1926 automatic. Tudor introduced its 1926 line at Baselworld 2018, as it looked to pay tribute to its early history with a range of mechanical watches that are both timeless and elegant. Crafted from highly polished and brushed stainless steel, the round 39mm case contains a delicately embossed dial, adorned with steel numeral and batten indices. It's finished with the iconic Tudor branding and a date window at 3 o'clock. The smooth bezel has an ultra-polished finish for a reflective look, and the steel screw-down winding crown is embossed with the Tudor logo. Presented on a matching, brushed and polished steel link bracelet, it's complete with a deployant clasp for secure and comfortable fit. At the heart of this stunning timepiece is the Tudor Caliber 2824 self-winding mechanical movement, with a 38-hour power reserve and a splash-proof water resistance of 100 meters. This really is a timeless and elegant Swiss-made watch, from a heavy hitter in terms of brand name, and we think that the Tudor 1926 model captures the essence of the brand, reflecting a world of fine Swiss watchmaking, where mechanical excellence goes hand in hand with enduring sophistication. So, those would be my suggestions for what I would buy if putting together a 5-piece combo meal deal. Thanks Archie, for under £2,200. Now, I should say this, whilst I love all of the watches I've covered here, all of which I think offer good value at their prices, if it was my £2,200, I would not buy any of these. What I would do instead is invest in just one watch. That's a point of personal preference, of course, but personally I would prefer one killer one-watch collection, perhaps with a vintage Rolex or a Tudor Black Bay, than get 5 watches of lesser quality. But hey ho, we're all different, and if I was looking to build a diverse collection for that price, then the choices I've discussed today are all a great way to go. Well guys, that's about all for today. What do you think of this subject and my suggestions? Am I missing a trick? Would you buy any of these? Would you do anything differently, or would you, like me, invest in one big hitter instead? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Please do also hit that like and subscribe button, that would really be appreciated. As always, thanks for watching, keep smiling, and see you again soon for another episode of Watches Etc.